Hey everyone! So I'm here with Oliver Talamayan and hi Oliver.
Hey,
And I'm just like so honored to introduce you guys this amazing person. I could go on and on and on, but one of the main things is I love his story and I wanted to ask him if you could share your journey to United States and how you started your life here.
yeah, pretty much I figured out a lot of people have things that happened earlier on that shape who they are now, and for me one of it was I moved back here about 10 years ago, a little bit over 10 years ago, with not having any kind of social circle of friends or any just kind of stability. So a lot of that stuff I had to learn from the ground up. A lot of that stuff I was like, no one's there to teach you that kind of stuff, so you have to go out there and proactively get into self-improvement and self-development. And that was, for me, that was looking back then, it was the scariest, but looking back, that was, I think, the biggest gift, because it teaches you that you can learn anything, any skill that you want, whether it's financial, health, or kind of like relationships. Everything can be gained. It's all a skill set, and you can choose to learn that. And that's one of the things that I got out of it, is that if you want to learn something, it's either you jump into it or find people that are already there. And for me, that just gave me the ultimate control, knowing that there's nothing in the world that I cannot master with that kind of mentality and stuff, for that experience. So from that took me from pretty much not knowing anything to mastering a lot of areas of my life, and finances and business is one of them. So pretty blessed.
Yeah, so incredible. And you know, I have this similarity because we're both immigrants. We both had to start our lives from zero. So if if you listen to this, a message for you, don't lose hope. Mastery takes time, but it's very possible. It doesn't have to take forever, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
And it's one of the things where if you dedicate yourself to mastery, let's say 30 or 90 days, it's one of the things where a lot of people don't dedicate themselves to mastery, where they're just, "Oh, I want to try a little bit of this, a little bit of that," and 3 to 5 years later, they're making a little bit of progress, but they still have a lot of the same problems that they have. It's never really solved. So for me, my mentality is, I'm going to dive deep, 30, 90 days, go overboard, and really just be crazily, obsessively mastering it. So after 90 days, it's never even a problem. And that's my mentality. Is you can have the problem forever by just dabbling, or you can go in full force, 90 days, give it your all, and after 90 days, not even have to worry about the problem again.
So powerful, so powerful. I call Oliver mindset strategists. No, excuse me, millionaire mindset strategists. Yes, because you know, I learned so many things from you, and one of the most powerful ones is this speed of implementation, 24 hours, and also the consistency of like obsessive action. Just practice until it becomes a habit, and then it becomes more like a skill. So I am curious. I know you have a son.
Yes.
So I am curious, what would be the one thing if you, okay, let's say you have to travel 5 years somewhere. You
Okay.
don't see your son for 5 years.
Oh, that's tough, but yeah.
Yeah, and you're gonna leave him a journal and you're gonna write like 3 things to him.
Sure.
What
Three
would you
things.
say?
Three. That's a tough one. Maybe one of the first things that I will tell him is that anything that you want to be anything that you want to be, anybody you want to be, anything you want to achieve, it's a lot of it is possible. A lot of it is not. Do you have the potential? It's, will you unlock it? So whatever he wants to achieve, whether it's having the life of his dreams, whether he wants to have the relationship of his dreams, whatever it is, a lot of it can be achieved just by having the right environment. That's one thing. Second thing that I would tell him probably would be that like you know everything takes work. Everything you want takes work. Like what you do today consists. I would tell him that the quality of your habits on a day-to-day basis determines the quality of your life. So if I want to see what my life's gonna look like 90 days from now, or 3 years from now, or 5 years from now, all I've got to do, I don't have to look that far. All I have to do is look at the habits I'm doing today. How does my day-to-day look like? 'Cause the days compound. Everything you do in a day will compound. So if I do it all the time, I can see where I'm gonna be a year from now. So a lot of it is like, if you want to change your outcome, a year from now, is just to change what you do every single day. A lot of people don't get that. And then the third thing that I would say is there's always gonna be a there's always gonna be different ways to get to the destination. There's always gonna be, you can walk to it, you can bike, you can drive, and you can fly. All right, and that there's always going to be a way to fly, and a lot of people, majority of people that are going to be around you, are going to be walking and convincing you that walking is the way to go, where you can just get a plane and just go to your dream right away. And a lot of times, whatever people tell you that can happen in a year, can happen in a day or two. So a lot of the times it's just knowing that that's possible and knowing that on the way to where you want, 95% or 98% of people will probably be against you or won't believe you, and you gotta just find the inner strength within to be able to push through, and no matter what, just get to the result.
That's really powerful. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And I know also, we had a few talks about our spirituality and how aware we are.
Right.
Would you mind sharing that with, maybe a little bit about your search?
Sure.
What fulfills your spirit, your soul?
A lot of the times it's going, well, and this is one of the things that it's about a really good question because I've never really talked about it. One of the things that I normally when I learn something, I just go ahead and do it. Or if good friends are there, I might share it. But for me, it's a lot of it is figuring out. It's not really about At the beginning, it was about the money. Of course, I'm not gonna lie, money, that's a goal, and I want to reach it. But it comes to a point where if you reach that, but the way it's not about what money, but how you're making the money. Or what you're doing on a day-to-day basis. What are you spending most of your time doing? So for example, if you're in a business and you're spending most of your time with clients you don't like, and you're pissed and you're angry and you're like, 80%, we spend, as achievers, we spend most of our time doing the things that we our craft, whether it's our business or our bodies or our minds. And if in the business sense, if we spend most of our time with people we don't like, 80% of our time we're pissed off or angry, that's the quality of our day. So for me, a lot of it is figuring out, who could I serve the most? And one thing is actually figuring out what my gift is. And everybody has one unique gift that if you figure it out, you can develop it and it becomes your superpower. And that's kind of I believe is what you were put down, you're brought on this earth for, is be able to give and share that gift to a lot of other people. For me, a lot of it is the gift of I can see a person's highest potential and I will stop at nothing to get them there. And I can help enlighten somebody or shift them to the next level. So for me, that's been out of all the things that I've learned how to do, that seems to be the most natural. That seems to be the ones when I do it creates the most impact. So that's one of the things that I try to spend most of my day, or a good portion of my day, of my time, in that element. And a lot of people I know, when they're trying to do something, they're trying to figure out, what am I not good at, or what am I just mediocre at, and let me just get good at that. So for me, it's kind of if you look at all the people that are great, that are great in this world, that have left a major impact, if you look at their lives, majority of the times they just focus on that one thing that they did really, really well and honed it to its full potential, versus focusing on mediocre things that at the end of their lifetime, if they just focus on that and made them mediocre, slightly okay mediocre, it's still okay mediocre. So by focusing on all that stuff, it's one of the things where they miss out on their true potential or their true calling. So for me, my mentality is figure out your gift, use that, and surround yourself with people that have gifts in the areas that you're weak in. And next thing you know, it will be a very stable, you can get anywhere you want with that kind of model. Focus on your gifts, develop it, and then everybody else, you're weak at something, find somebody that's really developed in that area or that gift, and just work with them. And that for me has been the approach that's worked every single time. Very sustainable approach.
Brilliant. So just thank you so much for sharing that.
Yep.
And I really relate what you shared with choosing to work with people who really inspire you. So they actually, I feel like when you work with people who inspire you, they energize you, right? It's almost like a mutual give and take. It's a win-win for both sides.
Yes. And a lot of times it's not mostly people that also inspire you, but people that you can just, if you've been down a journey, and a lot of people think, what makes you qualify? A lot of people think I'm not qualified to do this or do that, and a lot of times it's not about most of the times it's never really about the credential. If you look at the people that make the most impact, some of them are just, it's their story. It's they've been through it and they got through it. So the thing is, if you go through an experience or you solve a problem that you went through yourself, you develop some sort of sympathy or empathy for the person going through that. And once you do that, you see people and you can relate, and you come from a place of you see their pain, you feel their pain, and you can alleviate their pain or in that area. So it becomes more of it shifts over to more of a social responsibility. You have to, once you have it, you have that ability. Why would you not do that? So for me, it just happens that I do that and I still get paid. So that's the good mixture of it, is that you do what you love, you're gifted, and you get paid for doing it, and it's one of the things that it's a win-win for everybody.
Yeah, it's abundance is a natural. It's a natural result of inspired creativity. You give service to the world, to the universe. All comes back to you. It's this flow of life. This was amazing. Thanks, Oliver.
Absolutely. Yeah, and this is
Yes.
great. Thanks for really great questions. It got me thinking, and it's one of the things where I'm at a point, and to answer because I answered your, looking back now, I answered your question very logically, but let me answer. I know what you were thinking. You're wanting me to answer it spiritually and emotionally, but so for as far as like on a very spiritual level, I've just always in the last 7 to 8 years, I've just been in a belief that everybody, we all vibrate at a certain level, and energetic wise, everybody does. It's kind of like the same frequency of the radio. You change it, you hear different songs. We vibrate at a different level, and I really believe that when you are around people at a higher level, you can either be repelled by it or you can be forced to match it and to grow. So for me, a lot of the times it's finding people that are at a higher level than me, 5 or 10 times or 100 times down the road, and putting myself in that environment situation forces me to grow spiritually, financially, everything. So looking at things that way, once you're able to get to that level, what ends up happening is you attract a lot of people in your life that are on that level or lower. So the key is, if you're not really attracting the kind of clients that you want or the kind of businesses that you want, that means you just have to raise that frequency. You have to work on yourself so you're able to attract that kind of that kind of people to you. And that's one of the things where I've seen it over and over again. People can't explain it, but the moment they shift the way they think, the way they talk, because the thing is, it's people of the same. They say people, yeah, birds of the same feather flock together, because they have this. And the same thing with society is people that on a certain level, they have a certain set of languaging, what they say, how they think, how they carry themselves, their habits and whatnot. So if you put that out in the world, you attract people with similar habits, the way they talk, their languaging, and build a community around that. So if you find yourself stuck and you're like, oh wow, I'm just getting these clients that are always complaining, or I'm not getting clients that are always broke, a lot of the times you just need to improve and upgrade everything about you, the way you talk, the way you speak, the way you look at things, the way you present yourself, everything. And once you do that, what you're gonna realize is that it's like you develop this language, very unconscious, nonverbal language, where you are attracting to you people of that caliber. And people don't get it. People think it's a sales script, it's a video. It's nothing to do with it. A lot of the times, it's the very subtle things. I could say the same thing as somebody else could say, and they would not get it, and they would attract lower end clients. But I could say it the same way and attract higher end clients. So what's the difference? Is it the content, or is it pretty much everything else that's nonverbal, everything else, that the languaging, the way I'm thinking, the way I'm presenting, the energy I put out there? And I'm breaking it down in a way people can understand it. It's very important that you work on yourself, because you attract who you are, pretty much.
Yes, and that's the reason, we share these videos with you guys, because just like Oliver said, we both came from absolutely nothing, and there were times in our life we were searching for teachers. We still do. So always, if I can just suggest, always look for these gems that you guided to, because there's always support. There's always up. You're never alone in this journey. Just rise up, to make your steps, and surround yourself with brilliance. And that's why, I am so honored to be at Oliver's Mastermind. This is the second one, and it's turning into a family. It really is.
It really is. And
Yeah.
and the cool thing about it is a lot of it is I don't spend any money on marketing and advertising. A lot of it is very organic. A lot of it's very natural. And a lot of the times when the best kind of marketing is the results you give people. If you get the results, people will come. Like, the word of mouth will happen. It will, and I do a lot of marketing, but this is one of my businesses where I don't have to, because if you look at the principle of your results and your customer experience does the marketing for you, it's the most powerful kind of marketing you can ever do.
So true, so true. And it's what I love about how you bring people together is, of course, by the quality of people, who they are, and also how they're synergistically together.
Right.
So it's just a perfect balance. It's really, really amazing. And then, like yesterday, I was on the hot seat, so theory is great, principles is great, but then Oliver will put you on the hot seat and then you have to solve it, and then it's uncomfortable and you stay there and you solve it and you go for it. You know what I mean? And then we get assignments daily. So I really like that. I love it because it's just really, it's you're faced, okay, are you gonna run? Are you gonna stay and take action and push and break through?
Absolutely, yeah, and you did pretty well. So
Thank you.
that's awesome.
Well, it was really wonderful to connect with you guys. Thank you so much, Oliver.
Pleasure's mine.
Yes, and so stay hungry, keep learning, and surround yourself with wonderful people and radiate love so you can attract the most amazing people around you. Bye.